Welcome to Miracle, English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and now I'm beginning a new video series where I will try to solve and discuss the question paper of July 2016 of CBSC or UGC-NET exam English. Many of my students asked me to take up paper 3 first. So, listening to their request, I have taken up paper 3 first. So, if you have the paper with you, please take it out so that you can refer it while we are discussing. Let's take the question first. Which of W.M. Thackeray's novels' closing sentence is this? Which of us is happy in this world? Which of us has his desire? Or having it is satisfied? There are 4 options given. The History of Henry Esmond, Vanity Fair, The Luck and Berry Linden, and Pendennis. Let's talk about the author first, W.M. Thackeray, who was born in India and one of the greatest Victorian novelists. Novels evolved too much during the Victorian era because of Charles Dickens, because of Thackeray, because of Bronte sisters, because of George Eliot and many others. The art of characterization was too strong in them. So here he has also written a very nice classic called Vanity Fair. And of course, the obvious answer is Vanity Fair because it has this kind of ending where the author says that we are not satisfied at all. We are too much into materialism and our desires are never fulfilled. He also says Vanitas Vanitatum, which means vanity is empty, futile, it's ludicrous, it's farcical. It is preposterous. You never know whether a person is real or just manipulating in order to get his desire fulfilled. And desires are never ending. Although Thackeray gave a proper ending according to the poetic justice that the virtues were rewarded and the vicious were punished, he gave a proper ending, the conventional one, where everybody lived happily ever after. But then he reduced his characters to puppets. And then he said, we are the puppets in the hand of the stage directors, the characters. Very much he wanted to bring the realism of life by making such a statement in the end. The story is about 2 girls, 2 heroines, I should say. It is often called a novel without a hero. Becky Sharp is the main one, who's really sharp, who's very cunning, who knows how to fulfill her desires, and the other one is Emilia Sedley. She is sober and she is kind-hearted. So the story revolves around these 2 girls, their lovers, the love triangle is there. Then it is in the background of the war which happened where Napoleon fought in Waterloo and lost. So one of the main characters dies there in the war. Everything comes to an end, still the story goes on and on and on. In the end, he said that whatever happens, we are never satisfied. So the answer to this question is Vanity Fair. Now let me take the other 3 options. The History of Henry Esmond. Now this was published in 1852 in 3 volumes, and Henry Esmond was 12 years old when the novel starts. And he has a cousin called Beatrix, who's the center of this book, and she's fatal to the men she loves. The next choice is The Luck of Berry Linden. It was first published in 1844 as the Memoirs of Berry Linden, and in 1856 it was revised as The Luck of Berry Linden. The 4th choice is Pendennis. the history of Feminist, his fortunes and misfortunes, his friends and foes. So through this novel, he shows the insightful of human character and aristocratic life. So the correct answer is Vanity Fair. And I would like to suggest all the NET exam takers that do read some of the novels line to line. This time they have given the last lines of the novels, but there are very beautiful lines in between, and who knows that they might give other lines in the other exams in future. So it's better to read some novels, the famous ones, the classics. You should read line to line. Let's take the next question. Why does Lovewit in Ben Jonson's play, The Alchemist, leave his house, setting the stage for his servant Face, along with Subtle, a fake alchemist to fleece people? Now there are 4 choices. To visit his father who left him long ago? No. To find out new sources of minting money? No. Because of an epidemic of plague? Yes. To make a pilgrimage? No. So the correct answer is because of an epidemic of plague, because the play by Ben Jonson, The Alchemist, is set in the background of the plague which happened during the Middle Ages. So that time the whole Europe was covered with it. It was a very disastrous epidemic where many people died in Europe, and many of the people, they left London and went to the countryside. So Lovewit, one of the main characters, he left his house in the care of his butler called Jeremy. And Jeremy, he called himself Captain Fake, and he called his friend Subtle, who was a fake alchemist, and he made it a house of fraudulent. They started conning people there. Ben Jonson was the post-Shakespearean dramatist, and he led the Cavalier poets, and I would like to suggest that you people should read at least 2 of his plays in detail. One is The Alchemist, the other is Every Man in His Humour. Let's take the next question. By the end of the 19th century, novelists like Stan Barstow, Sid Chaplin, Alan Sillitoe, and David Storey were routinely lumped together as representatives of kitchen sink realism, who in 1954 wrote article The Kitchen Sink, calling attention to the gritty and direct realism. Now there are 4 choices: Martin Harrison, Stan Smith, David Sylvester, and Philip Callum. The correct answer is David Sylvester, because he was the first one to give the term the kitchen sink, and that too from a painting. What is kitchen sink? You know what? After the wars and when the frustration period came, when people were totally devastated, that time, what did the painters do? They started painting the common objects of the household. Like they started painting the kitchen, the bedroom, the sitting area. Therefore, a new trend started with the authors also. They also started writing the same. They started taking out the frustration in themselves by bringing out the realism of life. So, and also Angry Young Men group belong to the same category. You can either call them kitchen sink realist or angry young men. Like John Osborne's Look Back in Anger, where you find Jimmy Potter always frustrated, shouting on his wife, Ellison, who belonged to the higher class, whose father had returned from India as a colonist. So he was very angry, not towards his wife, but he was angry towards the upper class because of them. they were suffering. These were usually the working class people who in their free time used to visit pubs which were very gloomy. They used to drink and they had a very weird kind of accent. Language, they used to use very different slangs. Therefore, this kitchen sink realism is conferred to the work during that period, which were written, or the painters who painted in 1950s to 60s. Because Look Back in Anger was published in 1956. So the correct answer is David Sylvester. Let's take the next question. Which of the following is not an allegorical character in the play Everyman? Kindred, strength, Christian, discretion. Now, Everyman was a play written during the Middle Ages and it is a morality play. And every man is a metaphor for every human being present on this earth. God is sad. He laments that every man is too much absorbed in materialistic life. So he summons death to bring every man to him for justice. Death goes and says the same thing. Every man is shattered. He wants to live more, but death denies. But then death says that he can accompany somebody. He can bring a companion. So he goes to the fellow men, that means the friends, and asks them to accompany. But the friends who had earlier promised him to help in difficult times, but when they heard about death, they refused. Then he went to the kindred, that means the family members, they also denied. Then he asked many other people there, but nobody was ready to come with him except good deeds. So good deeds accompanies him with death also, and they go to confession. He confesses, and he is absolved from his sins because he gives himself several punishments. Good deeds summons beauty, strength, discretion, and 5 wits to accompany them to the priest for sacrament. After sacrament, all of them leave him one by one. Even knowledge cannot accompany him in his journey towards heaven. So it is said that during the lifetime, a man should not get involved too much in materialistic life or too much in beauty and other things, because when he dies only with good deeds. So the 4 choices are kindred. Kindred means kinsmen, means the relatives. They had refused to go. Of course, strength also. Strength, discretion, 5 wits and beauty had gone up to the priest. But there is no mention of Christian. So this is not an allegorical character in the play. Next question is, who among the following translators is notable as the first translator of Bhagavad Gita into English? Charles Wilkins, Nathaniel Hallhead, William Jones, or Barbara Stoller Miller? So, the correct answer is Charles Wilkins. He was the first one to translate this Bhagavad Gita, that too after 175 years of King James Bible. Nathaniel Hallhead is an English Orientalist. William Jones, of course, he has also translated. And the latest translation is by Barbara Stoller Miller. So the correct answer is Charles Wilkins. Here we finish up with 5 questions. If you like my effort, please like, comment, share and subscribe the channel. In the next we will be doing the rest. Also explore our website www.miraclewebstore.com. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.